It's time for Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccr.com. Coach's Corner is brought to you by Todd's Electric, Jane's Pharmacy, Lamb Motors, Avera, Owyhee Federal Credit Union, and Edward Jones Financial. Coach's Corner is also brought to you by Graham Tire, Kruger Contracting, CHS River Plains, Gales Gas, Bank West, and Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota. From the KCCR studios in Pierre, KCCR award-winning sports director John Winkler.
And we welcome you inside the KCCR studios on this Wednesday evening. And John Winkler here as we have another edition of Coach's Corner. We'll talk plenty of playoffs as we are in the 9B and 11AA playoffs. We'll talk with Steve Steele, the head coach of the Pierre Governors, as they take on the Yankton Bucks on Friday night. Also, we'll talk with Tom Moore, the head coach of the Soybeans Chargers, as they will take on the Canastota Hawks in the 9B semifinal. Both those games on Friday nights. We'll talk with both coaches as they get set for the playoff matchups. We'll also talk with head coach TJ Dragised of the Stanley County Lady Buffaloes. They got a win last night over Chamberlain. They are set to take on Mobridge Pollock tomorrow night in the Sodak 16 qualifying game in the Region 6A tournament. And we'll talk to those coaches here this evening as we get set for what will be a fun weekend and the next fun week ahead with plenty of playoffs around the state for both football and volleyball. That's on the way. We've got that for you here for this edition of Coach's Corner. We'll return and talk with head coach Steve Steele, the Pierre Governors, after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
No one likes to have electrical problems, but when they happen, call Todd's Electric at 223-2518. With over 30 years of experience, Todd's Electric can handle any type of electrical problem, whether it's residential, commercial, or agriculture. Their knowledgeable staff knows and understands the importance of your home, business, or ag facility and are prepared to help. That number again is 223-2518. Todd's Electric Service, serving the Pierre-Fort Pierre area. Todd's Electric Service, the line to power. It takes hard work to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than just sports. It also goes for your financial goals. You work hard for your money. You deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. Your local Edward Jones Financial Advisor can help. If your investments aren't getting you closer to the win, visit edwardjones.com or stop by your local Pierre area Edward Jones office for a financial review. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
People helping people.
Have you ever wondered what the benefits are of becoming a Owyhee Federal Credit Union member? At Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we reinvest profits in you. We do this in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and low to no fees. So come check us out or come in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre, because at Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we treat our members like they own the place because, well, they do.
Owyhee Federal Credit Union.
Hey, I'm just here so I don't get fined, so y'all can sit here and ask me all the questions y'all want to. I'm going to answer with the same answer, so y'all can shoot if y'all please.
This is Coach's Corner on your home for the Pierre Governors, KCCR, and online at kccrradio.com.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach Steve Steele of the Pierre Governors as they get set for the state semifinal matchup against the Yankton Bucks on Friday night. Coach, it's good talking to you again. Get a chance to advance in the playoffs and have an opportunity, one win away from getting back to the Dakota Dome. But this is a big matchup. Obviously, you know that's kind of the obvious statement that every semifinal matchup will be a big one. But taking on the number one seed in Yankton, I think there's going to be a lot of excitement, not just in the state semifinal, but that you go against the top seed in 11AA.
Yeah, I mean, it should be a fun game. We've had a lot of really good battles with them these last few years. We've had them in two very big games in the playoffs the last couple of years with the Dome game last year and obviously the semifinal the year before. And this one shouldn't be any different. It should be a battle, and hopefully it's a good football game.
Before we get farther into the Yankton game, let's go back to last Thursday and the win against Spearfish. You're playing a team that you had just seen 2 weeks prior. We talked about it last week and in the pregame show that the Spearfish had a lot more that they could correct than the Pierre Governors going into that game, which makes things a little bit uneasy for the Governors. But overall, from 2 weeks ago to that game, it looked like the Governors got a lot better and were able to then even shore up the things that needed to be better against Spearfish.
Yeah, very, very pleased with the effort. Obviously the guys did a very good job in pretty much in all facets of the game. We felt like we were better in all three of them. In credit to Spearfish, changed quite a bit up. They put in a whole lot of new stuff in 2 weeks, and they kind of got us by surprise a little bit there in the beginning. But our defense did an outstanding job adjusting to that and finding ways to limit their yardage and touchdowns and everything like that as the game went on. And offensively, again, being able to really rely on that run game to get everybody to get down into the box, and then being able to hit some timely passes, off of that was huge for us. So taking care of the football, and defense had 5 takeaways. It's a pretty tough situation to lose.
You guys, obviously, Yankton's in the same boat of playing Thursday, now playing next week, the following Friday, but you get a chance for that extra day of preparation, day off, whatever it might be. How do the Governors take advantage of that? And again, you're not going to win the football game on Friday with that extra day, but how does the Governors feel like they take advantage of that extra day?
Yeah, for us, we gave the kids the day off on Friday, and coaches kind of used it just as an extra day for prep. And again, it's a very important thing to be able to prep because that one was such a long time ago. The week before against Spearfish, there wasn't a ton of prep to be had because it was just, 1 week ago that you prepared for them. So just with it not being fresh in our minds, we use that extra day as a staff to really go back and kind of break down everything from the time we played them to today, and that was about 6 games that we had to look at. So it was a lot of stuff for the coaches to keep their eyes on and see how they've progressed throughout the season and, ultimately what they look like today.
Well, and you guys in that game, kind of the bottom fell out of the season. If you're looking at the peaks and valleys of the season, that was probably right at the lowest with all the injuries, with just how the game went. But it didn't stay at that bottom there. You guys continue to trend up and continue to have trended up. What have you liked about the Governors since that game against Yankton?
Just about everything. That was the challenging part of going back to watch that game as a coach was, that was rock bottom. Without a doubt in our mind, that was rock bottom of this season. We've got, I don't even know, probably 5 different starters on both sides of the ball from that game. Some of it due to injury, some of it we've gotten guys back, some of it due to some young guys have really shined. I think that all of those things we're a very, very different football team than we were that week. And again, not that they haven't improved either, but they're pretty much playing with the same people, where I don't think that we are at this point.
Well, and then that kind of leads to the next question of obviously Yankton have not lost a game since they beat you guys back in the middle part of the season. But have you seen anything that really stands out that's different from them than what you saw in that first matchup?
They had a little bit of different personnel last week, just in terms of some two-way guys. A lot of teams will do that. They get to the playoffs. You put your best 11 out there, and so they've got a couple guys playing both ways more than they did earlier in the season. But otherwise they look sharp. They're doing really, really well on offense. They still play with that fast tempo, that fast pace. It's almost more beneficial to watch the YouTube version than the huddle version for the Yankton's games, just because you can really see the timing of how fast they're subbing in and out and how fast they're on the ball and running the next play. So they're still doing a lot of those really good things. Defensively, they're really good at stopping the run. They'll load the box. They trust their DBs to go make plays. So they're playing really good football right now too, and something's going to have to give here Friday.
Well, and from the outside looking in, obviously the coaches for both sides are not going to let that dictate how the game goes. But you almost look at it and say, well, the Governors, after 7 straight state championships, you get an early lead on Yankton and get a score and a stop. Yankton might be sitting there thinking, oh boy, here we go again. And then on the flip side, if Yankton scores and the Governors get stopped, the peer could be saying, oh boy, here we go again from early in the season. That first part of the game could be a huge confidence build for either side of the ball or either team, just because of how the previous years have gone and how this last game went for both teams.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting just to see how that whole situation unfolds. But there's no denying. We've done this for a few years in a row now, so it's a challenge when you get behind when you haven't been behind in a long time. It's a very big challenge mentally to be able to handle that. So I mean that is going to be a big concerted effort on our part to get that lead early in the game and hopefully obviously finish with a lead. But it's just mentally that's a challenging thing to be able to do that and understand that the game's not, it's not slipping away if you're down a touchdown early in the game. But, if we can put that pressure on, that would be good. Just to challenge them mentally. And, I think from our side, if we get down, I mean, the pressure should be all on them. They beat us by 28 this season. They're the number one team. The pressure should be squarely on them, not on us. So our guys should have the freedom to just go out and play football, have fun, and play their best.
Again, that was going to lead to my next question. Of these guys obviously played a playoff game last week for the Pierre Governors at home. Now being on the road, to ease their nerves, is that the kind of the message of easing their nerves and saying we can go free? The pressure is not on us.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it, and the other part of it is just this. We've done this before. We've come down and won a semifinal game in Yankton a few years ago, and it was a very similar situation. They beat us by 28 in the regular season. They had a very successful season, and we had a couple losses, and we had to go down there and find a way to win, and our guys did that. And we weren't necessarily the better team that whole season, but we were the better team that night, which is what matters. So, and I think that our guys, have a very compelling case now that we're figuring things out and we've got everybody in place, and we're trending in that right direction. Who says we can't be the better team tonight? And that's all that's going to matter.
And that's what you say a lot when you get in the playoffs. It's about surviving and advancing. It doesn't have to be pretty, doesn't have to be clean, and the trajectory doesn't have to be up, because if you win, it is up because you're going the next round. And like you said, you just have to be better than Yankton tonight, more so than in the first round or what would be the third round of the playoffs. It just has to be better in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, it's one of those things. An ugly win is a great win. It doesn't matter how it gets done. We don't have to focus on getting better as a team. We have to focus on being better than Yankton, and as long as we can do that, we get another week of practice and another game, and that's our sole focus. So we've got our resources, we've got our bag of tricks, we've got everything, and it's kind of the fun part of the coaching side of this is that it's kind of like you're spending resources, and is it the right time to do this, is it the right time to do that, and as a great movie says, it could be the last game of the year. You're not going to hold anything back. Your goal is to make sure that it's not the last game of the year, so you're going to do whatever you got to do and spend whatever you got to spend to get that next one.
I think I might have used that quote last Thursday in the broadcast. The other thing, too, kind of made me think about it, is you guys practice on the game field this week with the time change. Obviously, in other weeks, it's only been the state championship because of how the time change went. But this week, has it been on the game field to have the lights on to get practice through?
Yeah, it's been on the game field. It's been quite a while. I mean, this is the calendar reset year where everything goes as late as it is. So, yeah, we've been at the game field all week. We finished under the lights all week.
Going into Friday now, biggest key for the Governors to get a win?
Yeah, I really think it's going to come down to finishing drives. I think we moved the ball okay at times the last time we played them. But we had that one play or that one thing that killed every drive. If we can just take away that one play and really replicate a lot of what we did against Spearfish, we're able to really methodically move the ball down the field. That'll really, I think, pay dividends for our offense. And defensively, it's all about the tempo. If we can handle the tempo and get where we need to be lined up and then just pursue, I think we've got an outstanding shot.
Well, Coach, hey, I appreciate the time as always. Good talking to you. We'll be looking forward to talking to you Friday in the pregame show.
Thanks, John.
That's head coach Steve Steele, the Pierre Governors, back with more Coach's Corner after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
At Shane's Pharmacy, your healthcare is important, and Shane wants to be the pharmacist to take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner, they will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
As community bankers, BankWest employees are deeply committed to supporting local causes, growing the local economy, and creating local opportunities. At a time when you can bank anywhere, we hope you choose BankWest. We'll be your financial partner for the long haul, helping you and your community achieve financial success. BankWest. Convenient, connected, committed. Member FDIC.
Building a home. It's the biggest investment most of us make in a lifetime. Not to mention, it's a decision that, well, you pretty much live with day and night. The quality of the workmanship stares back at you like a reflection. It also affects the value of your investment. Choosing the right contractor is critical. Kruger Contracting is that contractor. Call 222-2523. Quality workmanship and materials completed on time. Kruger Contracting. In a word, quality. Call 222-2523.
Let me talk to you.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota's sports leader, KCCR.
Yeah.
As we welcome back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach Tom Moore of the Soybeans Chargers as they get set for the 9B semifinal at home on Friday night, 6 o'clock kickoff against Canastota. And Coach, well, first off, congratulations getting into that semifinal from last week. Let's go back to last Thursday, a big win on the road. Again, we'll talk about being at home here in just a moment, but a big win on the road to get to the semifinal. What was the most impressive thing from that win last Thursday to get you in the semifinals?
I thought the kids did a nice job of making adjustments throughout the game. They did a few things to take a few things away, and offensively they came out ready to go, where we made a few adjustments after the first drive to kind of slow them down as they marched down right down the field to start with on the first series, but we held them out to a 4-and-out or turned the ball over on must be the 5 or 8 yard line. So that could have been a change of pace for the game if they would have scored right there, but the defense held strong, and the offense got things rolling as we made a few changes as the game went on.
And the Chargers won 36-6 over Corsica Stickney, and then you see the final score, Canastota beating Avon 16-8. You know it's going to be a tough game no matter if you're playing the 1 seed or the 8 seed, and so you're not really looking forward to playing one or the other, you're just looking forward to being able to play. However, the 8 seed winning gets you a chance to be at home on Friday night for the 9B semifinals. Again, you're not saying you're happy that Canastota beat Avon or Avon would have beat Canastota, but you're really happy to be at home because that is got to be a really good feeling to play at home Friday night.
Yeah, it sure is. If you're playing November and you're playing at your own house, that's a pretty good thing. The start of the year, our goal was to be playing football into November, so we met that goal, and to be able to play at home in front of our home crowd and our home field is a big deal. Not that travel would be a big thing, but it's nice to be able to play in Oneida.
You get Canastota, the 8 seed, who won 44-8 over Oldham Ramona Rutland in the first round, and then went on the road and got a win over Avon just 16-8 in that game. So one game where they scored a lot of points, but they've held both teams to just 8 points apiece in their 2 games. What's some of the things that you've picked out on film for this Canastota team going into Friday night?
It's Canastota this time of year. They're a championship-built program, so they know how to win games right now when it matters. Looking at them, they've had 3 losses, but they've been to very high-end opponents with Howard and Viborg and Hanson. So they're a very, very good football team. They're battle-tested. They have some size. They moved some kids around the last few weeks to get them into positions where I think they feel that they made maybe a better football team. So they've made some adjustments the last few weeks that are probably making them better in ways. So, but up front, they're physical. They're strong. They take some things away there that we tend to like to do. So we've been creative on making some adjustments that's going to help us get us in the best positions as possible.
Well, they look like a team that likes to run the football and run it really well. Obviously, at this time of the year, you're going to do a lot of things well to get to the semifinal. But they look like they run the ball, really good. And you mentioned the size up front. That probably helps them out a lot to be able to run the football as well as they do.
Yeah, for sure. They got some big. They got one real big kid that's quite athletic for. I think he's 350 some pounds, but he's athletic for being that size. You wouldn't think that, but when you watch film, he can do things. Offensively and defensively, he's a mass mover. He can take things where he wants to go and whatnot. And around him, just are good sized football players. So they're good at running the football. They run it a bunch of different ways. We got a quarterback that throws well and another quarterback that runs really well. They'll pose some challenges for us, but ones that we're excited to take on.
And then, they're a veteran-led group. They got a lot of seniors on this team, don't they?
Yeah, they got 12 seniors on the crew. Several of them are starters. We got several seniors, or 6, 7 seniors that play a lot of downs for us as well. So it kind of gets down to the point of, who's been in these situations the most. I think they've had kids that have played the last several years in big moments, and we've got kids that have played a lot of downs as well. So hopefully that balances things out, and we can just kind of get after each other.
And that was going to be my next question, too, or next segment into talking about that. While you might not have as many seniors as you do, as Canastota does, but those seniors are very important to this team. But these juniors and sophomores that are getting a lot more playing time, it is a veteran-led Sully Beach group. Wesley Willard, the junior quarterback, these guys are getting better and better every week. And again, that's kind of the obvious of if you're going to be playing this time, guys are getting better every week, but you're really seeing these guys play some really good football over the last couple of weeks and showing how good of a football team this is.
Yeah, for sure. When you have some age like that have taken a lot of the reps, hopefully the leadership is there and the want to not be your last game. You want your last game to be on some turf at the Dakota Dome. So, that alone, they're going to be talking about the same thing. So hopefully our kids come out and get ready to play. Practice has been good. So, hopefully ready to go on Friday.
Again, being at home, the importance of being able to play at home or having that home field advantage and home crowd. What does that do in the playoffs, in the semifinals? Obviously you had the home crowd behind you in the first round, had to go on the road and face a tough environment in the second round, but being able to have that hostile environment that the other team has to come into that you guys can feed off, how key can that play in a game like this on Friday?
That's big. That's even last week we had a good crowd that followed us down there. So that's one thing Sully Buttes has been known for is we travel well. So we traveled well last Thursday. Just eliminating the long drive, sitting on the bus. Sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes it can be long and monotonous. So being at home and getting your family there, your friends there, all the cars honking behind you, and more people there that'd be there than if you traveled. It's just a special moment. You're playing November under the lights. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful evening. So it's going to be a great night for football at the Charger Stadium.
One question I want to ask, too, is you get to this point, and obviously there are some superstitions. There are some things that you don't want to change in your routines of a week of getting ready for a game and say you can't change this now. And other times maybe you're saying it doesn't matter what the week is. We're going to do it this way because we need to make sure we get it this way. Guys are all, obviously every team is a little beat up, bruised, especially in 9B when there's not many guys that you can sub in for because you don't have them on the roster to even sub in for. Do you... Is it a little lighter practices? Is it a little bit harder practices, tougher practices? How do you handle that, especially now that you're getting into the 11th game of the season?
We'll keep practice similar to what we have done kind of all year. We'll eliminate or we'll slow down a few of more of the hitting drills and stuff like that, just kind of thinking, game 11 that you're going to show up on Friday and be able to do a couple of these things. But some of the footwork stuff that's going to go with the schemes and whatnot, we'll obviously keep doing that stuff that we do every single week on our Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So that'll stay the same, and maybe hit a little bit more bags instead of going against people on some of the dry blocks and some of the blocking schemes and whatnot. So you just try to start backing off a little bit of their bodies now, and hopefully the kids are taking care of themselves at home by drinking water and doing all the little things to keep their bodies in shape.
They always say it's not how you start, it's how you finish. But how key is a good start on Friday night? Is that the telltale of how the game will go? Is it that you got to be good on the first two drives to make sure you win the football game, or is it we got to survive the first couple of drives because we want to stay there late in the game? How key is that first couple minutes of the game?
It's key, and I talk about that almost every single game. The first 5 minutes. See what happens the first 5 minutes. Try to control the pace of those first 5 minutes of the game, because that's probably at least one offense possession, maybe one defense possession. Maybe you got it back on offense. How are you controlling the game and the situation? So coming out, these guys don't allow a lot of things to happen. So if we have chances, to get in the end zone or move the ball, that's got to happen. Where last week we started a little bit slower in that perspective. So a quick start for anybody this time of year, it would be a good start.
And then final question, as I always ask, biggest key for the Chargers to get a win Friday nights?
The biggest thing I think is taking care of the football. We had some hiccups on last Thursday with an interception, a turnover, kind of in some red zone stuff, or we didn't finish a drive in the red zone, and kind of left it hanging there. So taking care of the football this time of year is a big deal.
Coach, hey, I appreciate the time as always. It's good talking to you in the month of November for some football. Good luck Friday night, and we'll hope to be talking to you next week. I
hope so, and I appreciate it.
That is head coach Tom Moore of the Soybeans Chargers. Kickoff Friday night, 6 o'clock in Oneida on Country 95.3 and on YouTube at Country 95.3. Sports DT will have the call. And again, 6 o'clock kickoff Friday night between Soybeans and Canastota coming up for the 9B semifinals. More Coach's Corner after this. You're on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. KCCR.
Hey you. Are you at a job that is fulfilling, has good benefits to support you or a family today, and retirement goes down the road? If you just said no, listen up. CHS River Plains is hiring operations personnel, drivers, and custom applicators at several locations. These come with a knockout affordable benefit package for you and the whole family. Apply to a job with CHS River Plains and up your benefits straight up. To apply, visit us online at chsriverplains.com or stop in at one of our locations. CHS is an equal opportunity employer.
Capital City Ford Lincoln Toyota is serving the central South Dakota community and beyond with a great selection of used vehicles. Local trades and program vehicles are available. New Toyotas and new Fords are arriving and selling before they even hit the lot. So don't wait. Stop in and find out what's coming. If you've been thinking about ordering a new Ford, stop in and sit down with one of our sales specialists today. Capital City Ford Lincoln Toyota at 518 East Sioux Avenue in Pierre. Call 605-224-7378 and visit CapitalCityFordToyota.com.
This fall, take some time to think about your future while the leaves make their way down to earth and the last sunset of summer leaves us with an autumn chill. It's time to grab the nearest foam finger and break out the face paint. Rush the stands with First Dakota National Bank and forget how to blink. Fall sports are back with jaw-dropping plays, an electric atmosphere, and epic scores. Make some noise with First Dakota National Bank. Open a new account online today at firstdakotanationalbank.com. Member FDIC.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota's sports leader, KCCR.
You like that? You like that?
As we welcome back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach TJ Dragoset of the Stanley County Lady Buffaloes, who will take on the Mobridge Pollock Lady Tigers tomorrow in the 6A semifinals, Sodak 16 qualifying game, as the Lady Buffs picked up a win last night against Chamberlain in a 3-0 win. Coach, let's go back to that game last night first before we start talking about Mobridge Pollock. It was a back and forth first set, but once you guys kind of got that lead and got that first set win, I don't want to say you're on cruise control, but you guys really were able to take a hold of that game the rest of the way.
Absolutely. I think we had a little first round of playoff jitters going into the first set, but once we got in our groove and started playing, I think they were able to control it and feel what was going on, and then actually execute really well and put the ball away when we needed to. So I think the first set was a little jittery and a little nerves coming out, but once they got comfortable feeling it, then they did it really well.
You know, and you guys were able to balance out the attack with 2 with 7 kills. Hubner and Walker both had 7 kills, and then he added a couple more. Bradley Kafka, Addie Deal both having close to 5 kills each as well. And I'm sure, one, as any coach would probably say, it's good to be able to distribute the wealth, but really for the Stanley County team, especially being able to distribute from every hitter is going to be huge going into tomorrow night.
For sure. It's cool that our middles kind of led the team with kills this game. It's awesome to see that we are in system and we're able to activate our middle hitters, because normally when you're out of system, you got to go to an outside or a right side normally. So it's a good thing to show that our middles are in action and our passes are getting to the setter spot, so our middles can actually run routes and put the ball away when we need to, which leading into tomorrow's night game, it's going to be definitely beneficial to have our middles in system, in route, hitting hard against a good Mobridge Pollock team.
And again, real quick before we get to, talking about Mobridge Pollock, you were able to honor Casey Knight last night as well before the game, having her 1,000th assist for her career. Just how valuable she has been, not just this season, but over her entire career for Stanley County, seeing that she gets over 1,000 assists.
Absolutely. It was a huge goal of hers to hit it this season, and we were kind of on edge to see if she was going to get it, but she's been determined to get her 1,000th assist. So it was really cool to honor her and, have the privilege to hand her the poster and a ball to honor her in that way. So super proud of her and really well-deserved.
And this will kind of start to lead into Mobridge Pollock in that game, but how important a setter is and how important she is to the hitters to be able to stay in system, but to have those good passes to allow, again, it's going to take a lot to beat Mobridge Pollock, but having her as the setter is a really good starting point for the Stanley County Lady Buffaloes.
Yes, for sure. As long as we can stay in system, Casey can put the ball where it needs to be to get our hitters active and swinging hard. I think that's definitely going to be kind of a key to success for tomorrow night's game. But as long as, our defense has really been showing up and getting Casey really good passes. Last night they really did really well. I was doing stats this morning, and there was very few balls I got past our defense, which is awesome to see as a coach that, our defense is stepping up and getting Casey good passes so our front row can take care of the ball.
Well, this Mobridge Pollock team comes in 26-8 in the season. They had a sweep of Crow Creek last night to get to this spot to host you guys on Thursday night. Right now they played you once this year. This is a third straight year that you guys are meeting in the playoffs. And obviously Mobridge got those 2 wins before. They got a win earlier in the season against you guys in the 3-set sweep in Mobridge as well. What have you seen from this team? What do you take away from that match? Back on let's see, that would have been October 3rd, the first time you guys played. What did you take away from that game to get ready for now this contest tomorrow night?
I think defensively we're going to have to be really active and on our toes. Mobridge has always been a team to swing hard and even serve aggressively. So, even watching film back from the last time we played them, they can serve really hard and swing really hard. So defensively, we are going to have to be, staying active, staying on our toes on defense to make sure that we are getting good passes up so we can be effective on offense. I feel every year we go to Mobridge and, struggle up there. So I hope in this season that this is going to be a whole different ball game.
Well, and then on top of that, too, you get one day to prepare for Mobridge, and obviously, you're used to that too. In the playoffs, You win, and then you get one day and you go play again. But the advantage and disadvantage of having that one day to get ready for a tough Mobridge team.
Yeah, for sure. In the past, we haven't really seen Mobridge in regular season, whereas this season we got to go up there, we got to play them, we got to see what they have this season. So that was a huge advantage this season that we got to see them preseason. I know our AD, she's like, who would you like to pick up? And I said, if we could get Mobridge or Miller on our regular season schedule, that would be huge for us, for postseason, just to see what they have and see what they're going to to have for us.
And that's going to be something too. Obviously, you would like to have seen that first win against Mobridge Pollock, but as you mentioned, being able to see them and not just look at film and say this is what they do, this is what they can do. For these girls to see this is what they do this season, not what they did last season, but what they're doing this season, it's got to be a huge help of preparing for tomorrow night's game.
Absolutely, that's for sure, and that's something we haven't had. So we could definitely use that for our advantage this season. I know when we went up there earlier this year, we kind of got in our heads a little bit. They're an intimidating team, and we, I told the girls last night that we have to take care of what happens on our end, and we can't go into the game, with a losing mindset. We have to be winners, act like winners, and, succeed on that aspect. It's just a mind game that we have to take care of ourselves.
And you had mentioned that, I think it was last week when we talked on Coach's Corner, you mentioned that. Did you feel that was the case last night when they stepped in the court against Chamberlain? Did you feel like that mindset was there from point one all the way through the end of that match?
Yeah, for sure. I think there was some kind of lower energy I seen on the court, but it's hard to keep, hyped the entire time, but that's always a goal that I write on the board. To stay hyped the entire game, because if you're hyped, you're having fun, then it's a lot easier to play and get the win off of just the energy on the court. So I think going into tomorrow night's game, it's just going to be a positive mindset, a winning mindset that we're going to take care of the ball.
And obviously the first set does not determine who wins or loses a game or loses the match. But how important is that first set to try and get for the Lady Buffs, to confidence-wise, to maybe create some doubt in Mobridge Pollock in their side of the court, but just how important is it to try and get that first set win? Obviously, you're going for that first set win, but how important can it be to get that first set?
For sure. I think going into it, we're kind of the underdogs. They're probably going to have a confident mindset over us. And so if we could get the first set or even just a good, strong rally going, go on a few-point leads to get in their heads, try to intimidate them a little bit, I think that's going to be a huge advantage for us and a huge confidence boost on our team.
Do you play up the underdog spot a little bit going into the game tomorrow night or even at practice today?
Yeah, for sure. I think for practice, we're definitely going to, get a lot of hard swings, coaches swinging off boxes to make it realistic, feel what it feels like to get a hard down ball or to block a hard ball coming at you. And so it's just a winning mindset we have to have going into it.
And then final question here, we'll wrap things up. Biggest key for the Stanley County Lady Buffaloes to get a win tomorrow night?
Biggest key would be confidence. I think going into it with a confident mindset that, you got to take care of business on our end, and I think we can see a lot of success.
Well, the Stanley County Lady Buffaloes take on the Mobridge Pollock Lady Tigers tomorrow night at 7 o'clock for serve from Mobridge. Coach TJ Dragasep. Coach, I appreciate the time. As always, good talking to you. Good luck tomorrow night, and hopefully we'll be talking about a Sodak 16 berth for the Stanley County Lady Buffaloes.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Absolutely. That is head coach at TJ Dragasep, the Stanley County Lady Buffaloes. Back with more Coach's Corner after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. KCCRradio.com.
Most of us already know that Gales Gas of Pierre is the place to call for propane. They offer an automatic fill plan so you never have to worry about running out of propane. They accept debit and credit payments or a budget payment plan to spread out the cost throughout the year so you never have surprises when you get your bill. For delivery, convenience, and great customer service, call Gales Gas at 224-5518. That's Gales Gas at 224-5518.
Look, it's no secret that owning a vehicle can cause a lot of stress, and they get a lot of wear and tear on them through every season. Graham Tire wants you to know that you can trust them with any problem that you have with your vehicle. They have fully trained ASE certified mechanics on staff, ready to handle it for you. From brakes and bearings to alignments and front ends. Let their experience work for you. Over 50 years combined means you can count on them. So if it's time for a transmission flush or even a simple oil change, the only name you need to know is Graham Tire, 421 West Sioux Avenue in Pierre.
Score big on your next vehicle purchase with Lamb Motor Company in Oneida and Gettysburg, Lamb Chevrolet and Implement in Oneida, and Lamb Auto Sales in Pierre. Check out their large selection of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs at any one of their locations, or go online to lambmotor.com. That's LAMBMOTOR.com. Or give them a call today at 800-952-2222. Lamb Motor Company of Oneida and Gettysburg, Lamb Chevrolet and Implement in Oneida, and Lamb Auto Sales in Pierre.
That's a clown question, bro.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
And we welcome you back inside the KCCR studios as we wrap up the show this evening. Want to thank our guests, Steve Steele, the head coach of the Pierre Governor football team, Tom Moore, the head coach of the Soy Beach football team, and TJ Dragasep, the head coach of the Stanley County Lady Buffaloes. Coming up tomorrow night, we've got the NFL here on KCCR. Thursday Night Football, Cincinnati at Baltimore. We'll have coverage starting at 6:30 and kickoff just after 7 o'clock. Then on Friday, we've got those two high school football games, one here on KCCR on the Over on Country 95.3. 6 o'clock kickoff for Sully Buttes and Canastota on Country 95.3 and on YouTube at Country 95.3 Sports. Then the Pierre Governors kickoff at 7 o'clock in Yankton on KCCR and also on YouTube at KCCR Sports. We move into Saturday. We've got two college football games as both are in the top 25. Georgia is at Ole Miss, and then followed by Alabama at LSU. Two big games in the SEC. We'll have both of them covered starting at 2 o'clock with the Georgia-Ole Miss game, and then the Alabama-LSU game will follow right here on KCCR. We move into Sunday, and then we've got three NFL games for you, as it will be Pittsburgh at Washington should be a good game. That will start at noon, followed by the New York Jets at Arizona Cardinals, and then Detroit at Houston for Sunday Night Football. We get into Monday, Miami at Los Angeles Rams for Monday Night Football. And then Tuesday, we'll have some college basketball for you, as we'll have that Champions Classic, that doubleheader. Looking forward to that one as well, with that doubleheader between Michigan State, Duke, Kansas, Kentucky, all four of those teams all getting set for their first big games of the season that'll be coming up here next Tuesday. That'll wrap up the edition of Coach's Corner. Join us Friday for high school football here on KCCR and over on Country 95.3 for the state semifinals in 9B and 11AA. Again, thanks to our coaches, Steve Steele, Tom Moore, and TJ Dragosin. Same time, same place next week, 5:30 right here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. And again, of course, a reminder that you can watch these back on YouTube, listen to these back on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Have a good rest of your Wednesday.
You've been listening to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccr.com. Coach's Corner is brought to you by Todd's Electric, Shane's Pharmacy, Lamb Motors, Avera, Owyhee Federal Credit Union, Edward Jones Financial, Graham Tire, Kruger Contracting, CHS River Plains, Gales Gas, Bank West, and Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota. To hear the show again, head to YouTube at KCCR Sports for shows at any time. This has been a special presentation of Riverfront Broadcasting Sports, Central South Dakota's sports leader.